We are so excited you're going to be taking out the RV. We've put together some simple tips, tricks, and instructional videos to help you have the smoothest trip possible during your rental. So the first thing we're going to teach you about is your RV keys that we're going to give you at handoff. You've got a couple keys here. Your first key is going to be the purple key, and that's what's going to give you access to the RV house door. There are 2 locks on the door that you'll have to unlock and lock. You always want to make sure that door is locked while in motion in the RV. The second key is your gray key, and that's going to give you access to all of the exterior storage compartments on the outside of the RV, which should also be locked anytime that you are in motion. The third key on here is a simple silver key that's going to give you access to the exterior shower located near the rear of the RV and access to the exterior panel for the generator. You should only need to access the generator from the outside of the RV when you are troubleshooting an issue, and we'll be on the phone to help you through that. The other basic keys are going to be your car key and your key fob, and those are going to give you access to the driving cab of the vehicle. So next we're going to talk about RV safety. Inside the door of your RV, you're going to find located to the left of the door the fire extinguisher. Up on the ceiling, you're going to see the smoke detector, and down at the base of the kitchen cabinets, you will see the propane CO2 alarm. You also will notice your propane compartment on the outside of the RV. This controls propane flow into the RV for things like heating and cooking. We will give you the RV with the propane turned all the way to the left, which is on the on position. If at any time during your trip there is a fire or an emergency situation, or you're traveling over certain bridges or tunnels with certain indicators of no propane, then you'll turn it all the way to the right to turn off the propane. So we're just going to give you a quick walkthrough of the outside of your RV and where you can find different RV components for the different tasks during your rental. This here is your RV house door that we've referenced in some videos. It lets you into the main cab of the RV. Down here you see there's a storage panel. You can use this to store anything from luggage to different things you need for your trip. Over here you're going to see these are back access panels to your fridge, your furnace, your hot water heater. There are caution labels on them that they can become hot when in use during your trip, so just be aware of that. Here is your propane access, which we talked about in our safety videos of how to use. Halfway across the RV you have more storage compartments here. This one back here is another storage compartment. This is one of your sound system speakers for the exterior sound system. And this compartment here gives you the first point of access to your very large rear storage compartment. You can access this from both sides, and there's an even bigger door on the back of the RV that you can use during your trip. In here, we supply you with 4 camping chairs. We give you a 10 by 10 tent for your use. We give you a large 9 by 12 RV mat that you can roll out at your campsite. There's also a step stool. You'll also find your electric grill if that's included in your package. There will also be a 6-foot folding table in there for your use. On the driver's side of the RV, your rear access is going to contain your spare tire, your septic hookup supply bin, and it's also going to have your water dials, which we'll get to later in our videos. This is your exterior shower hose. This is your gas tank valve, which takes regular gas. And these are your septic and water connection valves, which we'll also talk about later. As you move down the RV, you'll see a compartment labeled hoses and converters. These are going to have your water hoses, your electric converters, and everything you need for those purposes. This is your low point drain. If any time you're driving and you don't want water in your reservoir tanks, you can simply turn this and the water will come out and empty your tanks. Here is the main electric supply cord bin. We'll get to that later, but that's how you're going to plug in your RV and have electric supply at your campsite. And in this bin here, you're going to have your leveling blocks and chocks for leveling your RV at your campsite. This is your generator compartment. You're only going to access your generator from the exterior if you're troubleshooting via the phone with us. So next we have some tips and tricks before you take off on your trip. The first thing I want you to remember is to always check your RV driveway checklist before taking off to make sure everything is locked up and secure. You'll be able to find that in your RV guide binder on board. The other thing I want you to remember is that you should have a minimum of 12-foot clearance under any bridge or tunnel as you're driving on your trip to make sure that you can travel safely. When you go to start your RV, you're first going to want to disengage your e-brake. Your e-brake should always be engaged anytime the RV is parked. Once you put your keys in your ignition, you'll hear the RV start up. Before taking off, I want to make sure that you're familiar with everything here to help you in the cab of the RV during your trip. The first thing that you're going to notice is your infotainment center. This is going to give you access to the radio, audio, anything phone related, and to any cameras that you have access to during your trip. For instance, using your turn signals during your trip allows you to access the side view cameras. These are helpful not only when you are taking turns while on the road, but can also be helpful when you're backing up into your campsite. When you put the RV in reverse, you're also going to see a large rear view backup camera that you can use. We also have provided an extra camera that's going to be mounted up on the dash here. This is the button to turn this on. When you turn this on, you can use this while you're driving on the road to use as a continuous rear view mirror for extra peace of mind. The other thing we're going to provide you with is a cup holder for your phone. We're going to give you access to an RV GPS app. You'll get the login and password upon receiving your rental information. And we ask that you use this as your only GPS for the length of your trip. That's going to make sure that you don't enter any bridges, tunnels, or roads that don't allow RV access. So in this next set of videos, we're going to teach you how to get set up at your campsite. The first thing you're going to want to do is level your RV. By looking at the bubble levels on the side of the kitchen counter, as you can see here, you're going to figure out which side or front or back of your RV needs to be leveled. You can do so using these leveling blocks and wheel chocks that we provide. Once you identify which side and wheel of your RV needs to be elevated, you can set up your leveling blocks as shown here. Then you're going to simply pull forward onto the leveling blocks, reassess your levels on the kitchen counter, and readjust as necessary. Once you are leveled, you're going to wheel chock both front wheels of the RV, and then you're good to go. Once your RV is leveled and parked at your campsite, the next thing you're going to do is hook up your hookups. The first one we're going to talk about is your water supply. In the bin labeled hoses and adapters, you'll find a clean water hose. It is your white hose with a large water filter like this. The other end has a blue connector that will connect to the RV. Upon getting to your campsite, take this hose, connect your water filter end to your campsite water spigot, and then you're going to go ahead and take this end and you're going to connect it to your city water connection, also labeled as your blue hose, which correlates to the blue end on your white hose. Once getting this connected, you're going to then return to your campsite spigot and turn on your water supply. The next thing you're going to do is go back to the water dials located in the rear compartment and change your settings to what is called city fixtures, also known as numbers 2 and 6. Your water then will be able to flow into your RV as if you're connected to regular plumbing, just like the plumbing in your house. In the event that you are hooking up water simply to fill your reservoir tank so that you can use your toilet and plumbing while on the road, or if you're dry camping and boondocking, you would want to switch your dials to 1 and 6, also known as city fill tank, and monitor the levels on the inside control panel until filled to your desired level. Before hitting the road, you're going to turn off your water supply, disconnect your hose, and then change your dials to the setting called normal, which is 3 and 5. This will allow you to use water while not connected to a continuous supply while on the road or boondocking. So once getting to your campsite and your water connection is hooked up, you'll come to the back and you'll set it to city fixtures, which is also known as 2 and 6. And it correlates to these dials up here. So 2 and 6. If you're simply filling your tank for water on the road, you're going to change your settings to 1 and 6, also known as city fill tanks. So you're going to go to 1 and 6. Once you've filled your tanks and you're ready to hit the road, in order to use your plumbing, like your toilets and your sinks, you're going to need to change your dials to the normal setting, which is known as 3 and 5. The next hookup process for your campsite is going to be setting up your septic tank drain. The first thing you're going to do is open the septic bin located in the rear compartment of the RV. Next, you're going to make sure that you put on gloves that we've provided before touching anything in the compartment, just to be safe and sanitary. Next, you're going to take out your your hose support for the RV slinky hose. Go ahead and set that on the ground. You can take off the orange connector. And the next thing you're going to do is go to the rear bumper of the RV, remove the cap, and pull out the orange slinky hose. This is the septic hose that's going to connect to the RV, and the other end is going to connect to your RV campsite dump site connection located in the ground. You'll see there's 2 orange caps on either side. You're going to remove the first cap. And you're going to go ahead and connect that to your septic outlet. You're going to unscrew a black cap located on the end of this pipe. We provide a belt wrench in case it's difficult to take off. And then simply connect your slinky hose. Once that's connected, you're going to move your slinky hose support to ensure that your hose is supported for the full length from RV to the dump site connection. It simply has to maintain a downward slope so that nothing pools in the hose. The other end of your hose is going to go into the campsite dump site connector on the ground. But before putting it on, you're going to connect the clear elbow. You can go ahead and place this in the dump site connection. If there is a cap on the dump site connection, there is an orange wrench located in the septic supply bin to help you get any tightly closed lids off. Your hose is now connected. So the final setup portion at your campsite is going to be hooking up your RV electric. In the hoses and converters bin, you'll find the surge protector and converters, and that will have your 50 amp converter if needed for your campsite, and your surge protector. This small compartment here has your RV power cord. You'll unravel this and you'll carry all of these components over to your campsite electric outlet. There is a small hole here that you can feed your power cord through and close at your campsite that will allow you to close this door all the way so that this does not continuously bang against the side of your RV. When you get to your RV campsite, your plug is going to look like this. The first thing you're going to do is take your surge protector and go ahead and plug that into your campsite power source. You're going to make sure that the indicator lights read double green which on this one reads power on and gives you nothing else similar to an error message. This is all before you even plug in the RV to the power source. If your surge protector gives you an error message in any way, you're not going to plug in the RV. You're going to go to the campground office and either ask for a repair or a new RV site. If your surge protector is reading all clear, you can go ahead and take the RV power cord and plug that into your surge protector. Within a few moments, you should hear the different electrical appliances turning on inside the RV, and you're all set to go. Inside the RV, once your electrical is plugged in, you'll see the power control panel. It's going to read service 30 amps. That means you have 30 amps of service running through the campsite power source. The RV maxes out at 30 amps. Try not to do things like run your hairdryer, the microwave, blast the AC, and all the other electrical appliances at once, or you might blow a fuse. To monitor your amp usage, you can hit the scroll button several times until you see the screen that says amp equals a certain number. If you are questioning whether you should turn another electrical appliance on or use something like your hairdryer, come back here and check and make sure that you're not too close to 30 amps. If you are, consider what in the RV you can turn off to better manage your electrical usage. The power control panel is located right outside the bathroom door. Directly across from it, near the bottom of the sink, is the fuse breaker box in case you blow a fuse during your trip. The final step to getting set up at your campsite is going to be putting out the slides so you have the most space available to you during your stay. Slide 1 contains the recliners and the dinette, and slide 2 is your rear bedroom. What you're going to do is make sure you're either hooked up to electric or the generator is running, and you're simply going to push the extend on each slide, and you're going to hold that button down until they are fully extended. Be sure that once the slide stops moving on its own, not to continue hitting extend, or else you may jam the slide. In this section of videos, we're going to talk to you about the inside control panels in your RV and the different things that it allows you to operate. The first thing you're going to see right up here is your generator hour reading. Right next to that is going to be your start button for your generator, which we'll talk about later on. These are your slide, extend and retractor buttons. Reference your slide setup video for use of those buttons. Here, you're going to see 4 buttons. They read battery, fresh tank, which is your fresh water reservoir tank for things like plumbing, your black tank, which is your septic tank, and your gray tank, which is your dirty soapy water, like your sinks, your showers. That's your reservoir tanks for that. By pushing these buttons, you'll see that it reads either empty to full on each of these tanks. Use these buttons to monitor your tank levels as appropriate during your trip. This other small level here is PMP, and that stands for water pump, which we'll talk about later. But when your water pump is on, you can see that PMP red indicator light turns on. This is your tank heaters button. This won't be relevant for your trip, so no need to worry about that. Leave that in the off position. The other controls you see here is your water heater. When you're using propane, for instance, if you're on the road or dry camping or boondocking, you'll use propane to heat your water. When you're plugged in at a campsite or using your generator, you'll be able to use electric to use your water heater. Anytime that you use your water heater, only turn it on for the length of time that you need it, and be sure to turn it off afterwards. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes for your water heater tank to heat up before use. When you first walk into the RV, on the right, there's another area with important controls. The first one you're going to see is your main power switch. The red light means it's on. You'll receive a rental with the main power on. Leave that on for the duration of your trip. This button here is for the exterior awning. We do not allow awning use during our rentals, so please don't use it. The reason why is because an awning repair can be upwards of $2,000, and it's not covered by your RV insurance package. For your own protection, we provide a pop-up tent to use instead. Here you'll see controls for on and off for your exterior lighting. That's the lights on the outside of your RV, essentially for your patio area. This is your power step. You'll notice when you open and close the door, and an automatic step will extend and retract. If that's not your thing, you can turn it to the off position. And in here is your speaker system. That connects to the main infotainment center over Bluetooth. And this simply toggles your speakers from inside the RV to the exterior patio area of the RV. In this area of controls, you'll see your power inverter. This will be turned on during your entire trip, and you don't have to worry about this. But all you need to know is that this inverter allows you to run one outlet in the RV located under the main TV while on the road. This down here is your electric leveling system. This is basically the leveling jacks that are hydraulic underneath the RV. We do not allow use of the hydraulic leveling system during your rental. Similar to the awning, this is an expensive repair should something go on during your trip that's not covered by insurance. So to protect you as our renter, we provide leveling blocks. Besides, most of the time your RV campground sites are almost perfectly level anyways. In this video, we're going to show you what comes in your RV kitchen and how to use all of your appliances. The first thing I'm going to show you is just what's in all the drawers and cabinets. Down in this bottom drawer, you're going to see we provide you a Keurig machine. We also provide you with a couple starter K-cups and some disposable paper coffee cups. Be sure to bring your own mugs or cups if you're looking for more than that. In this drawer here, you're going to see a pretty inclusive basic set of kitchen utensils, knives, measuring cups, some bag clips, and some grilling tools. In this area of the kitchen, you have a wooden cutting board, and that's going to show, if you move this, you'll see you've got two nice sized sink compartments here, and you also have a drying rack built in. Your sink here has the capability of both hot and cold water. We'll talk in a little bit about how to turn on the hot water heater. This area here has some USB ports and some extra outlets. Up in this cabinet, you'll see that we supply a set of some reusable bowls, plates, a plastic cutting board, some basic cooking pots, a colander, and these are your disposable coffee cups. There's also some reusable drinking cups back there as well. Up in this cabinet, you'll find some paper towels and just some storage for anything else you'd like to bring. There is a series of 4 small cabinet drawers in here. They're mostly empty, but what you'll find is some dish soap, a clean sponge, some extra hand towels, some pot holders, and a small stash of trash bags. If you're going on a large trip, I'd recommend bringing some extra trash bags along. The only thing that we don't supply in our kitchen is cutlery, so make sure that you bring your own reusable forks, knives, and spoons, or bring a plastic pack of cutlery along. Here you'll see your microwave. Functions like a normal microwave. The only thing to note is that the microwave is disabled while the RV is in drive. And this is your stove. We've got a propane stove here. The main thing to remember about this is that there's a glass cover on here that you cannot cook with while it's closed. It has happened, so do not turn on the burners while this is closed or else your glass cooktop will shatter. You're simply going to fold this back and turn on the burners, which I'll get to in a little bit. And then this, you have a decent sized freezer with an ice cube tray and a very nice sized fridge for all of your food needs during your trip. Let's go into some greater details about your propane stove and oven. As I mentioned before, be sure to fold back the glass cooktop cover before cooking on it. If you do turn on your burners with the glass down, it will shatter. For your stovetop, it runs on propane. Your propane has to be turned on in the outside valve, which it should be at the start of your rental. The first thing you're going to do is go ahead and turn your desired burner to the little flame icon, and you can start to hear the sound of the propane. The next thing you're going to do to light a burner is use this flame button here to spark until the burner turns on. Do this for each of the following burners that you want to use, and then simply turn the dial to the desired level of heat. When you're all done, you're going to turn the burner back to off. In order to use the oven portion, what you're going to do is you're first going to turn on your oven light, make sure everything's clear and there's no trays being stored in there, and go ahead and close your oven door. With the oven button, you're going to push in and keep holding the button in while you have it set to the flame icon. Leave it here for about 10 to 15 seconds and then hit the spark button a few times. You will eventually see the pilot light light a flame in the base of the oven, and then you can set your oven to the desired cooking temperature. Give it some time to heat up. Just be sure when you're done using your oven or your stovetop that you reset all of your nozzles to off so that you're not leaking propane into the RV. When using your fridge, the main thing you want to remember is that this green light means that your fridge is functioning. We're going to give you the RV in the mode of auto, and that's going to have this little A here with an electric plug. Sometimes you'll see a little water drop that appears that looks like this. And what that means is if you have it in auto, the RV is going to choose for itself whether it's using electric or propane. If you've got the generator going or you're at your campsite, your indicator is going to look like this. If you're driving, it's automatically going to switch to that little teardrop, which looks like this, which means you're running on propane. So my recommendation is just to leave this on auto during your trip and it'll take care of itself. If you want to adjust the coldness of the freezer and fridge during your trip, this button here will allow you to go between 5 different settings. In the entertainment area of your RV, you'll notice a large TV. You'll notice a DVD player that we provide. There's an outlet back here that you can use while driving. And down here is your propane furnace. There's simple on and off and temperature controls here for when you want to use that. Sometimes it's great to take the edge off of a chilly morning without using the overall heat. You'll also see up here that there is options for using air conditioning and heat and setting the temperature for your RV. There are remote controls for all of these components, which can be found in the center console between your recliners. So we're going to give you a tour of the RV bathroom. The first thing you're going to see is your RV toilet. The main thing to know about your toilet is you always want to have a small amount of water in the base of the toilet. You can do this by simply stepping part way on the pedal and letting the water fill. Having some water in there at all times helps prevent odors from escaping while you're on the road or at your campsite. Before using the toilet, you want to do that gentle half step on your pedal to fill the bowl with some water. Go ahead and use the toilet as normal, and then to flush, you're simply going to push the pedal all the way down and hold the pedal down for a few seconds until all the contents are flushed. Once again, half step just to fill a little bit of extra water in the toilet and you're good to go. In order to use the toilet while you're on the road, such as driving or boondocking, you want to make sure that your water pump is turned on. You can reference that on the control panel. Only turn your water pump on while you need it and be sure to turn it off when not in use. The next part of the bathroom is simply your shower. The important thing to remember here is that these are glass doors, and you want to make sure that this safety latch is engaged whenever you are driving or not using the shower. If not, you risk the doors moving while in motion and potentially breaking during your trip. Simply close this latch and make sure your doors are snug. Your shower functions like a normal shower. If you want to use hot water, simply turn on your water heater on the control panel and give it about 15 minutes to heat up. Be sure to turn your water heater off after use. Do not leave it on at all times. Same thing for the shower. If you're driving or boondocking, you want to make sure to turn on your water pump. That'll pressurize your pipes and give you water pressure while on the road, but make sure to turn that water pump back off as soon as you're done using it. Neither the water pump or the water heater should be on at all times. Under the sink across from the bathroom is RV toilet paper. Be sure to only use that supply of toilet paper during your trip. normal toilet paper has a potential to clog and disrupt the septic tank. If you're planning to use the sink while on the road, make sure to turn on your water pump located on the control panel so that you can pressurize your pipes while on the go. Always turn off the water pump when you're done using it. It can't stay on all the time. Same thing for the hot water heater. If you need hot water from your sinks while on the road, turn on your hot water heater, let it heat up for about 15 minutes, use your water, and then make sure to turn it off as soon as you're done using it. In this next set of videos, we're going to show you how to pack up and leave your campsite. The first thing we're going to go over is dumping your septic tank. With your hose connected and the other end of your hose fit securely in your dump station hole in the ground, you're going to go ahead and first open the black holding tank handle. It's going to pull out straight from under the RV. You'll notice the septic tank emptying, and you can see that in the clear elbow at the end of the hose. Once the flow begins to slow, with the black tank still open, you'll then open the gray water holding tank. Remember, this is just your soapy water from your sinks, showers, etc. What this does is it allows soapy water to come through and rinse your hose out. After you dump your septic tank, you want to make sure to go inside and step on the toilet flush handle for a few minutes, allowing some water to collect in the base of the tank. Once you have some water recollected in your septic tank, you're going to go ahead and pour 2 ounces of this water treatment septic tank chemical into the toilet. This preps your tank and gets it ready for use. You want to make sure to do this treatment step and refill the tank with some water in between every dump. When you're leaving a campsite or leaving to come home for the final handoff return of your vehicle, the last thing that you're going to do with both the black holding tank and the gray water holding tank handles open is you're going to attach the gray hose found in the hoses and connectors bin underneath the RV. This hose is going to be used to provide a water flush of the septic tank to get any debris, extra toilet paper, etc. out of the tank so that it's clean for return. Simply take the gray hose and connect it to the gray hose tank flush valve located next to your city water connection. Never attach this hose to your city water connection valve, or else you risk contaminating the lines in your RV. Once this hose is securely connected, you're going to connect the other end to the spigot of the water supply at your campsite. With the black tank valve open and the gray tank valve open, remember this is important, you're going to turn on water supply and allow the water to come through the gray hose and flush through the black tank. You'll see flow coming through the clear end of the hose elbow. After about 5 minutes, you're going to turn off your water supply, disconnect the gray hose, and close both the black tank and the gray water tanks. At this point, you're good to disconnect your hose and pack everything back up in the septic bin, and you're ready to hit the road. In the event that you are simply needing to empty your tank at your campsite, but you're not planning on packing up and driving away, you're simply going to open your black holding tank and then your gray holding tank. Allow everything to empty and then close them. Similar to what we described earlier in the video. Keep an eye on your tank levels inside on your control panel. When tanks get to be about 2/3 full is when you want to make sure to dump them. If you'd like to leave your campsite but your septic tank is not 2/3 full, you're going to go inside and hold your foot down on the flush pedal on the toilet and have someone else monitor the tank reading. Once the tank reads 2/3 full, you can come out and go through this dumping procedure. The other final step before you leave your campsite is to go ahead and disconnect your water connection. Make sure you set those dials back to the normal setting so that you can use water while on the road. If you need to, refer back to the video of how to use the city fill tank setting to put at least 1/3 tank full of water in your fresh water tank so that you have water while on the road. Also, don't forget to go ahead and collect all your electrical components and the surge protector and pack them up in the RV before setting off for the rest of your trip. Quick information about using your generator. When would you want to use your generator? For instance, if you're on the road and it's very hot in the RV, you can turn your generator on while driving to run the air conditioning and cool off pretty quickly. You'd also be using your generator if you're doing what we call dry camping or boondocking, where you are camping without any electricity hookup to run your appliances. The thing to remember about the generator is that the start and stop button is right here. In order to turn your generator on from inside the RV, you're going to simply hold down the stop button on the toggle switch until you see that red light appear. Once that red light appears, that means that the generator's been primed and it's ready to go. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to hold down the start button until the generator starts up, and you'll see that the red light is on when the generator is on. When it's time to turn off your generator, simply hit the stop button and you'll hear it power back down. One important tip about our particular RV is that this switch sometimes can be a little bit temperamental. So what I want you to do is just take this and toggle it and make sure that it doesn't get stuck on stop. Once you turn your generator off, check back in a few minutes and make sure that this red light isn't on. If it is, go ahead and hit stop again, toggle the switch and wiggle it a little bit till that red light turns off. Otherwise, the generator can continue trying to start and you'll end up flooding it and running into some issues. But other than that, you should be all good to go. In this video, I'm just going to give you some quick tips and tricks if you are dry camping, also known as boondocking in the RV, or if you simply want to use some of the RV amenities while you're on the road. This basically means that you're using the RV without an electric hookup or continuous water supply. For instance, if you're on the road and it's getting hot in the RV and you want to use some AC, or if it's cold and you need some heat, you can go ahead and turn on your generator while driving, and that'll help correct the temperature in the RV pretty quick. The generator can also help power things like the TV and some minor appliances, but in general, your stove and oven and your microwave will not work while the RV is in motion as a safety feature. The other thing to think about is using water and pressurizing your pipes for the kitchen, bathroom sinks, the shower, and the toilets while you're on the road or at a campsite without electric and water hookup. For the water pump, you're simply going to turn on the switch on the control panel as we showed you in other videos. Using the water pump gives pressures to your pipe. Just remember to only turn on the water pump for the duration that you need to use the sink, shower, or toilet, and be sure to turn it off when you're done. Running the water pump continuously can cause damage to the pump during your trip. The other thing to remember is to always make sure that you have enough water in your freshwater reservoir tank, meaning it needs to be at least 1/3 full in order for you to use the water pump and pressurize your pipes. Running the water pump without enough pressure in the tank will result in air in your lines and also damage the water pump. So you're getting ready to return your RV and your trip has come to an end. There's a few things I'm going to go over with you to make sure that the handoff at the end of your trip goes as smoothly as possible and that you don't incur any extra fees during the end of your rental. The first thing to remind you about is to make sure that you return the RV with a full tank of gas. The RV takes regular fuel and just have that all the way filled. We'll have given you the RV with a full tank at time of departure. The second thing to make sure you do is to empty all of your tanks. It's okay if you return the tank with some fresh water in the freshwater tank. We can take care of that for you. But as far as your black tank, which is your septic tank, and your gray wastewater tank, they need to be empty upon return. We recommend dumping at the last campsite before return and doing that tank flush so that your tanks are nice and clean. However, if that's not possible, you can go ahead and use some of the websites we've provided to find a dump station on your return home. Just make sure they're empty before you pull into the RV return lot. The other thing to remember is to be in touch with us about your return time. We have a strict 3 p.m. drop-off time unless otherwise discussed with the owner prior to departure. Remember, there are some late fees that you can incur by returning the RV late, and we really want to help you avoid those. We'll give you a contact for contacting us when you're about 15 minutes from the RV departure lot, and someone will come and pick up. And that's pretty much all we have to tell you about return. And in general, thanks for renting with us. We really appreciate it, and we hope you had a great trip.